su tur bi delloo dugg ci biir rox boobu nag.
Once the divine name is breathed into the soul, it becomes the structuring principle that, at the birth of the human being, manifests through moments of consciousness. From then on, a veiled reality is gradually revealed to them, confirming the truth that each individual is shaped according to a specific divine name by which Allah conceived them. When a human being embarks on the quest for this primordial name, they must understand that it was deposited within them from the moment of fertilization within the maternal womb, constituting the fundamental element from which they were molded as a human being. This divine name, as a witness to the mission entrusted to the three angels, became integrated into the very essence of their soul, thus becoming the ontological foundation by which Allah shaped them. This is why it is affirmed that this divine name embodies what is called Ismullah al-Azam, the supreme name unique to each human being. However, within the framework of divine attributions, some are favored by Allah, who grants them the possibility of tracing back to the origins of their existence until the revelation of this primordial name. Others, through a special grace, are guided to a chosen one, endowed with exceptional spiritual opening, Fathul Kabir, who will reveal to them the divine name by which they were shaped. However, it is essential to emphasize that this quest cannot be subjected to the limits of human rationality or a purely speculative approach. What leads many seekers to failure is precisely their desire to make it an object of calculation. It is common in certain mystical traditions to hear that the divine name could be determined through esoteric calculation methods. Yet, on this subject, it is imperative to recall that each science has its own domain. If one claims to discover this name through calculation, the one who possesses a genuine spiritual opening will first be struck with stupor. Why? Because the analytical and formal approach through which the human being attempts to grasp reality differs radically from the divine mode of operation. The equation that the human being believes they can solve with their limited means cannot in any way be equated with how Allah, in His infinite wisdom, unfolds His decree. This is why I stated that I would return to the 40 days that the point of fertilization must traverse in the maternal womb before the intervention of the three angels from the angelic realm, Alamul Malakut, who, under the auspices of divine Inayah, and from the perspective of the Lord, will proceed to insert the secret of the soul. These 40 days have often been equated with a period of 40 earthly days, counted according to the conventional 24-hour cycle as perceived in this world. However, Allah, in His infinite wisdom, did not follow this method of counting. When these 40 days come to an end, Allah addresses the angelic realm, Alamul Malakut, selects three angels, and entrusts them with an Inayatou, which constitutes a manifestation of His divine name, so that they may accomplish their mission of inserting the soul into the point of fertilization. Nevertheless, if one projects into the realm of the unseen, the world ghaib, it becomes evident that the very nature of these 40 days escapes ordinary temporal laws. When transported into the earthly dimension, it appears that each of these divine days equals 19 hours of this worldly time, and not a 24-hour cycle as we know it here below. Thus, according to the divine count, these 40 days are measured not by human time, but according to a rhythm specific to the celestial sphere, where each day is established at 19 earthly hours. It is on this basis that Allah counts until reaching 40 units, which constitute the designated 40 days, according to a logic that transcends ordinary temporal perception. What I wish to clarify here is that the hours of the day, according to the divine count, once converted, correspond to 19 hours of this worldly time. Yet, you consider them as 24 hours. If you base your calculation on these conventional 24 hours, will you truly be able to recover these hours according to the divine measure? This confirms the words of the Lord. قُلِ الرُّوحُ مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّي وَمَا عُتِيتُم مِّنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. Say, the Spirit is from the command of my Lord, and you have been given but little knowledge. Thus, from this perspective, it becomes clear that Allah has enveloped this reality in a mystery, destined to be discovered later, according to His will. This is why, when one attempts to study this phenomenon, one encounters veil and enigmas that can lead to error. For example, many have assumed that it was a cycle of 24 hours per day, whereas in reality, the hours during which Allah intervenes, when the point of fertilization is still in the maternal womb, once transposed into our temporal dimension, reveal that each divine day corresponds to 19 earthly hours. Thus, Allah counts these hours until reaching 40 units, which constitute the designated 40 days. It is at this precise term that He contacts the angelic realm, grants them an Inayatou, symbolizing a divine name, and assigns them the sacred mission of inserting the soul into the point of fertilization. From then on, this divine name remains, deeply integrating into the soul. It becomes the Ismullah al-Azam, unique to that individual, anchoring within them the imprint of the divine decree that shapes them. Within the framework of divine organization, one observes the process by which Allah has veiled certain domains in mystery, making their understanding inaccessible to mere calculations and numbers. This is how He established a particular order concerning these 40 days, leaving the beings of this world the latitude to calculate according to their own perception of time. While they count a daily cycle in 24 hours, Allah, in His infinite wisdom, quantifies it in 19 hours. Thus, these 19 hours, repeated over a period of 40 days, mark a decisive moment when the point of fertilization exists even before the intervention of the angels. The latter, entrusted with a sacred mission, are sent by Allah with the support of an Inayatou, a manifestation of divine name, to breathe the soul into the developing being. This process, of prodigious subtlety, reveals that every mission entrusted by Allah to an angel is accomplished with absolute rigor, followed by the angel's testimony in the divine presence, attesting to the perfect execution of their task. The divine organization is illustrated in this cycle, where the divine name, guarantor of the proper unfolding of the mission, testifies in favor of the angels, then integrates into the very soul of the future human being. It is from this divine name that Allah shapes the soul of each individual, so that when they come into the world and when they attain knowledge of their Ismullah al-Azam, it is precisely this name that they discover. This unveiling is in reality the fruit of a spiritual or mystical dimension, orchestrated by Allah, who grants each person a mystical opening according to their predisposition and journey. This spiritual ascent also follows a well-defined process. But returning to the most complex process, a question remains: what type of soul is introduced into the woman organism or into that of the man? What is the nature of these two categories of souls?